All right. No, Fred. I'm 4 minutes late today. Besides Fred, I've been thinking about this, and it's my live stream. So, like, I can kind of start it whenever I want, and that's when it starts. And technically, there you have no way of knowing that I wasn't planning to start the live stream at 6:04, because here's the thing. YouTube live streaming only lets me set the live stream to start in 15-minute increments. So I could have planned for like the last week to start this live stream at 6:04, but YouTube, like, in the back end, won't let me program it for 6:04. And that's the real problem here. I think the headline here is not Luke is always late, but it's YouTube's system is not, like, granular enough to allow its users to stream at the times that they decide to stream at. Instead, what it does is it forces us to pick a time at a 15-minute mark, which ends up with us lying to our users because we never planned on streaming at 6 p.m. or 6:30 or 7. It was at 6:04, and that's what we really planned on doing. So YouTube, it's really YouTube's fault, and they're making us lie to people. I think that's really, really the story here. I am always on time because I always intend to start when I start. I think that's really what the takeaway from all of this should be. Don't you agree, Squirty Pie? Yeah, you do? Okay, Squirty Pie agrees, and that's all that really matters. Is 4 minutes really that big of a deal? Yes. No, of course not. Nobody cares. Okay, I gotta do some spammage. Give me a couple seconds to do some spammage, and then we'll kick the show on the road. Oh man. Oh, you're gonna tell me the DC? Well, then I will just make up a number. I rolled a 21. All right, I'm gonna spam people on my Discord. Give me a second, because the stream has begun, and they need to come to the stream. Where's the spam channel? The spam channel that everybody's muted. All right. Hello, folks. The Q&A live stream has begun. We begun. Come ask your DMing questions and see if you can trigger a rant. Wee. Post the link. Mention everyone. That's why it's spam. Okay, cool. I think I got it. I think I got it. You're about to mention 2,000 plus people. I do worse than that every time I release a video. I think I'm okay. There we go. Okay, I have spammed the Discord. I no longer participate on Twitter. I've pretty much given up on Twitter. I'm tired of going to Twitter. Twitter's like the cesspool of humanity. I think Twitter, I think, I think Twitter has replaced Reddit as the cesspool of humanity. Like, it's just so negative. It's like complaining about everything. It's like complain. Negativity. It's like, oh my gosh. I was trying to like engage over there, get attention and stuff, and it's always everybody's just complaining about everything. It's like the one-upping of complaining, and having a problem with somebody or a company or something. You know what I mean? It's like that's what Twitter is. And I'm just like, that's not who I am. I mean, yeah, I do complain about some stuff, but like not every day, like 12 times a day, like every 2 hours, because you got to post that often for engagement and stupid crap, which I never did anyway. So I haven't been on Twitter for a month plus. I'm just like, I actually feel better not going on Twitter, man, and trying to engage people. It's like, yeah. Sassy Molassy, hello, how you doing? Oh, yes, I have to say hello to people. Hello, people. Dice Goblin, what up? T2 the Monkey, hello. Jacob, what up? Cobberhome, you've been here before. I recognize your name. Ellen Westbrook, hello. Jade says, sounds like some excuses my DM makes to cover their butts, Luke. Yeah, I mean, your DM probably watches my channel, so they learn all the good excuses to use. So yeah, for me. I see a question from Gibson. I'll try to get back to that. I will circle back to that. See, I worked at a big company. I worked at a corporation. I know these fancy terms. We're gonna put that in the parking lot. Let's circle back to that later. You know, that's a great question. Oh my gosh. You stupid corporate crap. Oh. Anyway, we're gonna circle back to that there, buddy. Your toddler started daycare? Cool. All right, what am I doing? Oh, you're saying hi to people. Kathy Evans, hello. JC, hello. Luke uses his YouTube to complain about people complaining on Twitter. Laughing, yeah. Yeah. I have a couple of videos where I complain about stuff. Yes, it's very, very true. Toxic Okami says, Luke, please save D&D. LOL. Dude, there's no saving D&D. These guys are just like, they have like a shotgun in their mouth and they keep pulling the trigger and pumping the action. Like, I don't know. These guys are crazy. They just keep doing thing after thing of absolute abject stupidity. So I don't know that you can save them, dude. You can't, like... You should see my video feed. You should see my YouTube video feed, you guys. Like, I'm like, this last week, like, I just had like content creator after content creator coming up. I mean, it's the anniversary of the OGL, so it was like, you know, oh, this is OGL stuff. Don't, you know, a year later, and like, you know, D&D is blowing up and D&D is declining, and like, this the end of D&D, and like scandals and stuff. And it's just like, this week has been like a good week for like that type of stuff. I feel like I'm leaving the train behind or something because I'm not making a video about some sort of D&D scandal or something blowing up, man. Like, what am I missing here? You know, like, geez, you can get 50,000 views on a video in like the first couple of hours if it's like some D&D, who's gonna save D&D? It's the end of D&D as we know it. Blah. Yeah, if I did more videos like that, I'd probably get more attention. I just can't live in that headspace, you know? That's crazy. That's crazy town to live there every day. I can't do that. That's why I just make videos about, here's how you can be a better game master and, you know, run cool games and have fun and stuff, which doesn't get as much attention as like the world is burning and fire, but you do what you can. Clickbait 101. You know, here's the thing. Like, I do want to talk about that because there is a line between clickbait. We're gonna go full screen for this. The stream has not started. We have to go full stream for this. All right, here we go. There is a line between clickbait and simply enticing people to watch your videos. Because here's the thing. If you don't have a thumbnail and a title, or at least one of those that somehow entices somebody to watch your video, you might as well put the gun in your mouth and pull the trigger. Because it doesn't matter how much work you put into this stupid video. Like, if you can't get people to click on it, you're done. Game over. So I cannot, as somebody who has to run that hamster wheel like every single week, you know, video, thumbnails and titles. As somebody who has to do that stupid crap, let me tell you, like, there's nothing worse than putting tons of effort into a script and a video and stuff, and then to have a crappy thumbnail, which by the way, I'm really bad at, and then have the video flop. So, I can totally appreciate the fact that like you need to create thumbnails and titles that are going to get people to click on your stupid video, because if they don't click, your effort and everything is for nothing. So, little guy, will you calm down? So I can appreciate the fact that they're trying to get you to click on it, and it makes sense. Like, why would you create a thumbnail and a title that is boring and like nobody wants to click on? Like, you'd be an idiot to do that. Right? Like, you want people to click on your crap. So you need to create a thumbnail and a title that entice people to watch what you made. Now, clickbait is not enticing somebody to watch your video. Clickbait is when you put something on your title and thumbnail and then you do not follow through on the promise of the title and thumbnail. That's clickbait. So for instance, if somebody posted on there, you know, D&D is on fire, blah, and I go into their video and they're talking about like, oh, you know, I love Pathfinder and it's amazing and this is what we're doing and stuff, you know, and you're just like, yeah, but dude, you were talking about D&D blowing up. What happened? That's clickbait, right? But if they're like, D&D is grounds a scandal and AI art and blah, 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 blah. If that's the title, and you go into the video and the person's like, oh my god, and that's what they talk about, that's not clickbait. That's title and thumbnail telling you they're gonna have a video about something, and then the video is actually about that thing. Now, if they did a good job at getting you to click, well, good on them, you know. But if they follow through on the promise of the title and the thumbnail, it's not clickbait. It's just them doing their stinking job, you know? And why wouldn't they want to do that? Like every YouTuber they want to do career suicide. Like, we're just going to do the world's most boring thumbnails and stupid titles so that nobody wants to watch our videos. Yeah, and then their career and everything just goes down the toilet. Like, who's going to do that? You know what I mean? When you go to your job, you put your best foot forward. You try, hopefully, you probably are trying to do a good job so that your boss, you know, pats you on their head and maybe you get a, you know, a 2.5% raise every year or something, right? Like, you're probably going to try to excel at your job because, like, you know, stuff depends on it. So people doing YouTube do the same thing, you know. And I will say too that there is something to be said about the idea of not blaming the players and blaming the system, or more importantly, like, who encourages that behavior? Because here's the thing, there is a channel that I have in mind that gets extremely high views despite their low subscribership, and the reason they get crazy high views is because every title is like done a certain way and every thumbnail is done a certain way. It's scandal and controversy and the world is burning. And they have learned that that works, that gets attention, that people click on it. And if people click on it and they watch it, then the people keep making video titles and thumbnails like that. Is the person really to blame, or is it everybody who keeps clicking on their stuff and reinforcing that behavior? So there's a meta question, I think, at play right there. Like, is it our fault that we create enticing thumbnails, or is it the fact that it works and people click on that crap? Because if people didn't click on it, guess what? We wouldn't do it. But the fact that you click on it tells us that you're interested in it and you're gonna watch it. Therefore, we do it. So don't blame us too much. Too much. You know, the whole idea of this is a fallacy. Let me point this out really quickly. The whole idea of a 2.5% raise, not even keeping up with inflation, is a fallacy, and here's why. So, pretend I have a job. I make $100,000 a year. Let's pretend, okay? I get a 2.5% raise. And you're like, well, that barely keeps up with inflation. No, that's not the way it works, okay? Because my basic necessities probably cost around $20,000 a year. The things that are actually inflating in cost, food, you know, gas and stuff, that probably costs me about $20,000 a year. Okay, those are the things, that's what's actually inflating. Everything else is just butter. I got a mortgage, that's not changing. You know, I have discretionary costs, like I go on vacations, I travel, I do trips, I buy stupid crap that I don't need. Like, you know what I mean? That's all discretionary spending. So like there's a big fallacy around this whole idea of 2.5% barely keeps up with inflation. When you consider like the salary spectrum of different people, like the higher salary you make, you don't care if something, inflation doesn't even impact you. You didn't think about it, you know. But if you're not making a whole lot, yeah, then inflation hits you hard because there's a larger proportion of your income that is not your income. There's a larger proportion of your expenses that are impacted by inflation, right? But when you have a larger income, there's a very small percentage of your income that's actually affected by inflation. And so that, I know when I worked a corporate job, some of my coworkers would always complain about that, and that is not a logical way of thinking about it at all. It doesn't compute mathematically. So I don't know. Sorry, I had to talk about that. You brought it up. It's your fault. You see, it's not my fault. Like, I reacted to the stimulus that was in the chat. I should probably drink coffee and calm down. Well, car part prices skyrocketing don't matter if your car doesn't break down. For instance, I bought a Honda. Those things don't break down. Now, if you bought a Chevrolet, yeah, it's gonna break down. A Ford, probably gonna break down. Like, there are certain cars that are gonna break down, you know. Oh, what's the other one? Chrysler? Yeah, Chrysler's gonna break down. Let me tell you, Chrysler's gonna break down. I used to work at a third-party automobile parts supplier. We did hot metal stamps. So like you heat sheet metal up to super hot heats, high temperatures, and then you have presses that stamp it into the proper shape, and then you super cool it. Okay, it takes a smaller press to do that, right? Because it's hot, it's more malleable. Super cool it. We made A-beams, A-pillars, B-pillars, C-pillars, bumpers. That's mostly what we made. And I'll tell you what. Somebody in chat knows what I'm talking about. They're car parts, okay? They're metal car parts that form the frame of a car, basically. All right, and we would send these things out to, we shipped to Chrysler, Ford, the big three, Ford, Chevrolet, and we probably shipped to, like, you know, other people too. Anyway, we ship these car parts out, right? These frames and stuff, A-pillars, C-pillars, bumpers, whatever. We ship these things out, okay? I'll tell you what, man. Ford was pretty decent to work with. You know, Chrysler, like, they had their heads up their butts. Okay, let me tell you, at least the plant that we worked with, it was like in Ohio, I think. I can't remember which one. These guys had their heads up their butts. They would send us back, like, every bin of parts we shipped out had a sheet of paper on it that told you when it was manufactured and stuff, because you're supposed to use first in, first out when you're manufacturing. The first stuff you receive is the first stuff that you put in your car that you're assembling, right? Because that's the way you're supposed to do it. It's FIFO, right? So anyway, these dudes, they would send us back, they would send us like a sheet, like a, you know, scanned in sheet, and be like, this bin of parts was all rusty. We want you to ship us a new bin of parts. And we look at the manufacturing date, and it was a year old. And we're like, you're trying to assemble a car on your line with parts that are a year old because you're not following FIFO, and you're complaining that it's rusty. Of course it's rusty. These are metal parts, and we didn't paint them. They weren't sealed or anything. We didn't even oil coat them, because the whole idea is you get these things and you assemble them, and once you put our parts onto the frame gets dipped a lot of times. Maybe it's spray painted, but it gets dipped in paint so that it seals it, so that you don't have to worry about it rusting. So our parts that go into the frame, some of the parts had oil sprayed on them, but very few. Most of them were just untreated, because you're supposed to get the stupid things, assemble it, and dip it in paint or spray it so that it's, you know, it doesn't rust. Well, these morons, I don't know what they were doing. They had bins stashed all over their warehouse. They probably had trucks, semi-trucks, like, sitting out in their yard, and they're just like, we don't have any warehouse space. We'll just go stuff it in those trucks. And they'd have stuff like stuffed in the trucks probably for like months or years, and then be like, we're getting low on bumpers. Okay, cool. Go to that truck out there. It's got bumpers in it from that company. And they'd pull the bumpers out, and they were just like, dude, these bumpers are all rusty. And then they'd send us the sheet, and it's like a year old. Well, of course it's rusty, because there's some special paper that you can, like, it's like plastic. It's like an anti-corrosive plastic that you can layer in between the parts as you're packing them in the bin that will prevent corrosion, right? But like, we didn't put a whole lot of those in the bins, because the assumption is you're going to use the stinking things. Of course they're rusted. So anyway, that's Chrysler. Of all of the different people we worked with, Chrysler was the ones that were the worst. It was like Chrysler heads up the butts completely, you know, and then Chevrolet or GMC or General Motors or whatever was kind of like, you know. Ford was probably the best to work with. They seemed like they knew what they were doing the most, you know. But anyway, there you go. I don't know how I started talking about that. I don't know where that came from. But that's somebody's fault. That's somebody's fault. Chryslers are total pig iron. I don't know what that means. What does that mean, total pig iron? My 2015 Civic just needed a transmission replaced. That's 9-year-old car. Probably not super unexpected for 9 years, but I would hope it would last longer for sure. I wonder how it was being driven too. Because I'm tell you what, I see people driving cars like complete idiots, and it's like, yeah, that's why your car breaks down. So I don't know. I probably just accused you of something that was unintentional. I take that back. Okay, let's start the stream. Okay, hold on a second. All right, here we go. We're starting soon. All right, welcome to the stream, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight we're going to be doing a Q&A. You ask me your dungeon mastering questions, and I will give you responses. And might have a rant. I think we already triggered a couple of them, possibly. Might have some more. So just throw questions in the chat. Do your hashtag question, all caps, and I gotta find it and I'll answer it. It's great. And super chats get answered immediately, asterisk, unless I don't see them and miss them, but I do my very best. And yeah, that's what we're doing today, just Q&A. Let's do the sleazy plugs. We have a giveaway going on. Hopefully there's a chat link in the chat with the link to the giveaway where you guys can click on that. It'll be $50 DM Lair store credit, so you can get some of our cool stuff you can use in your D&D games on the DM Lair store. We'll draw the winner to that giveaway at the end of the stream today. And what else are we doing? We are continuing to raise money for All God's Children. Let me go over to their page. Ooh, I gotta find my monitor. There's my link right there. Okay, so All God's Children does lots of really cool stuff for kids. That's why it's got children in the name. It is a charity. They do several things. They help with international adoptions. They have a page for that. I think I have it up here already. International adoptions for kids. They also help with education. Kids who are at risk of not completing education, they help with that. They help with human trafficking as well, which is one of the things I really like about them. So if you want to donate to them, help support them and what they're doing with children, they also work with like institutions where children are being like held or kept, or I don't know what the term is, I'm sorry. They partner with them to help make things better for kids and stuff. So if you want to help support them, we are raising $500 for them. You can see I got crap in my throat. Off this way, there's a bar at the bottom of your screen, and we are halfway to our goal thanks to several generous donors. So if you'd like to donate, all tips go toward All God's Children. And if you want to donate to them directly, you're welcome to do so. Just go to their page. There should be a link in the chat. Click some buttons and stuff, and you can donate. Oh, you can also sponsor kids individually. Like they have a list of kids, and they're all in Ethiopia because I think they probably have like, I think they have some sort of like, I don't know what you call it, presence in Ethiopia specifically, which allows you to sponsor kids directly and then help kids that way. So I actually, I think this was last week, I decided I have two. These are the two kids that I'm sponsoring right now. I can't pronounce her name. Alem to say, I'm sorry. I'm sponsoring her, and I'm sponsoring Caleb. I picked both of those guys out. I basically picked the oldest kids I could find because I figured a lot of people probably sponsor younger kids, and I wanted to sponsor the older ones, so they could get an education and food and crap. And you can read their bios too. And they had like a bio that I thought was. It was talking about like why, she like her family circumstances and stuff. And so that also intrigued me and made me want to sponsor her. So I'm sponsoring a couple of kids. You're welcome to do so as well. Or you could just donate by tipping. And then when we hit a $500, we'll send them a big donation. All right. And so we got the giveaway. We got the charity we're raising money for. And then, yes, I got to read the patron names. All right. So, that's the wrong one. So everybody see on screen right here are our wonderful, amazing patrons. So these folks help keep the lights on. They give us some money that lets us do the different things that we do, such as these live streams or all of the free resources you can find on the dmlair.com. We have articles over there about how to do stuff, but you can get free adventures. You can get free magic items, free monsters, free puzzles, people, puzzles. I hate making puzzles. I'm not super good at making puzzles, you guys. So like, I'm happy for other people to make those resources, and we make them available to you. So you can go over there and grab that stuff. So these folks here help us to do everything that we do, all the free resources and stuff. And our patrons also get our premium stuff, Lair magazine every single month, and map packs, digital maps you can put in your games. And we also recently started publishing the sequel to Into the Fae, which is called Escape from the Fae. The first adventure for that is up as well. We have it up on the DM Lair store, but our patrons also got that. Our $25 plus patrons are getting Escape from the Fae as we publish them. Every single month we have a new adventure from Escape from the Fae that comes out, and our $25 plus patrons are getting those adventures with brand new monsters as we publish them every single month. And the first one came out in January, like a few days ago, last Thursday, I believe. So if that interests you, check it out. All right, these dudes here, and little guy is up on my desk, needs attention. He's so small. Where is my button? There we go. Okay, these patrons right here, they support at a higher level. So these are the $25 plus patrons. They get their names read out loud. Little guy, you're rubbing against my camera. Can you not rub against the camera? Is that possible? Is that possible? Man, he's so hairy too. And he's shedding. I have so much hair on me. Oh my goodness. All right, here we go. Agile Monk, Alex. Oh, these guys, they get their names read out loud. I think I said that already. Agile Monk, Alex S, Alexander O, Alan D, Amanda W, Ambers, Angelique K, Anton Key K, Art Soccer, Ashley, Alucas, Beavis Khan, Bees in Space, Black Wolf, Brad M, Bradley H, Brendan A, Brendan P, Brian O, Brian O, Brian the Lion, Brian J, Carl C, Chaotic Wolf, Chris C, Christian D, Christine B, Christopher G, Colette H, Colin W, Connor D, Contrary Gravy, Corey A, Corey H, Dazzled Up, David S, Dad Wolf, Dalen W, Dean B, Derek E, Derek K, Dice Goblin Wannabe, Dominic S, Don D, Dazim, Dungeon of Terra, Dutch Ed R, Edward B, Edward L, Imfrabo, Enduran 72, Eric B, Aaron O T, Philip H, Gabriel T, Gene A, Generic Throwaway, 100, George E, George R, George P, Guapo, GBTM, Hard on Gale, Helltong, HLD, Iron Cascade, Jackie Pizza, Jake L, Jacob K, James C, James K, James L, Jen F, Jennifer Jem, Jeremy W, Jerry, Jim P, Johan P, Joel, John A, John J, John the Wicked, John Pinkanos, Jonathan F, Jonathan S, Jonathan V, Jordan, Jordan A, Jose, Joseph H, Joseph W, Josh M, Josh S, Joshua J, Juan Kamata, Kiko Notisuki, I'm sorry, Kevin F, Killsaber, Kirby, Curry Claw, Laura L, Laser, Letter Mage, Lionheart, Linda, Loki, Lord H, Lord Luke E, Matlock. I'm watching Better Call Saul, and okay, that's a long story. Let's just keep going. Macy S, Magna, Marcel V, Martin C, Matt S, Matthew C, Meepy, Michael G, Mirostal, Mitchell, Mo20s, Mordakin, Mr. Owl, Nerd with Glasses, Nerd Over 900, Nicholas S, Nick H, Neareth, Old Man Mage, Paul B, Paul S, Pethnick, Pivotal, Porkchop Bacon, Puppet Master, Quith Miracle, Randy B, Rebar, Renner C, Richard M, Rob W, Robert C, Robin B, Ryan, Saul R, Sakura, Samuel M, Scott R, Scott S, Sabarin, Shadow, Shane L, Simfan, Soulbar Gaming, Son of a Sofa Man, Soul Naya, Stan the Man, Steve. I do this every time. Stefan G, Stephen T, Steve S, Sturm, Tactical P. My mouse is over that name. Talnut, Terry V, the Three Quarters Hospital, the Jackal, the Old DM, the Wookiee, the Fuzzle, the New Bad Ombre, Thomas F, Thomas J, TK, Chom B, Travels the Lost, Trinity Series, Thorner, Tyler D, Tyler R, Unalloyed, Undying Warlock, Valagor, Vent Songage, Victoria Q, Vinny, Vladimir S, Walt O, Wesley K, William C, XX Red Drum, Yuli Y, Zachary J, Zombie Trami. All right, baby, I did it. I got through it. I feel like I did a bad job today on the names. I'm sorry. That was bad. Sith Lord, you missed everything, man. I ranted about how bad Chrysler is. I probably just offended a bunch of people. There are probably people that work for Chrysler and they're like, Luke, you suck. I hate you. That's fair. What is this? Question. X class, Arcane Trickster 3, Artificer 15, level 5 spell slots, add level wizard with spellbook. Can you gain level 5 spells or better if available with use spellbook feature? Any opinions? What? This is like computing. So like, do I try to answer that and try to figure that out, or do I just move on? Oh, this is like a deep rules question with spellbooks and level 5 spells. You know, this is the problem with 5th edition. Like, when you're dual classing or splashing, or that's a splash. And you have like, you're getting spell features from 2 different classes, it gets messy. You know, and you have an arcane trickster and then an artificer. Like, I don't even know if I want to delve into that. That's just craziness how they have some of that stuff for 5th edition. Gosh, I'm sorry, I'm gonna pass on that one. We'll circle back to that if time allows. Somebody hates me now. The best first short official adventure to run. I am a novice dungeon master. Go get Into the Fae, dude. Go get Into the Fae off the DM Lair store. That is an adventure module that I wrote. It's designed for levels 1 to 5. There are a selection of shorter adventures in there that you can grab. There are also some longer ones, be aware. But there's definitely some nice short ones you can grab and run for your friends. And we design our products so that they are pretty easy to prep and run at your games, easy to reference and stuff. So I think it's very friendly for you, I feel. So I would go grab that sucker from our store. Into the Fae is the name of that. I think we still have hardcovers left, but we are getting low on them. You can always get a PDF, obviously. We are not one of those companies that's like, we don't sell PDFs. We don't do that. You can get a PDF too. And by the way, the PDF comes with digital maps and tokens and everything you need to get it set up in your virtual tabletop. And then if there's an ultimate bundle too, that you can get the physical book plus the PDF plus the digital maps plus the tokens. You can get all that cool stuff, whatever. You can get variations of that depending on what your needs are, you know, but I would go check that out. All right, and let's go down. Looking for questions. I'm scrolling for questions. What sauce do you recommend for Layers and Legends? I had sweet and sour last weekend, but I think I could do better. Sticky situation after rolling a 1 behind the screen. What sauce for Layers and Legends? Look, spicy mustard is my go-to. Like, if I have to, so I have 2 sauces that I put on food, generally speaking, unless I'm at a barbecue place. If I'm at a barbecue place, and the barbecue places that I tend to like the most are the ones that have like 6 different bottles of barbecue sauce. There's like the sweet one, there's the hot one, the savory one, and they have like the mustard. There's usually like a Carolina mustard or something one. There's like that's. So if you're at a barbecue place, there are lots of different options for sauces. That I'm gonna put that in as an outlier for this question. All right, we're just gonna talk about basic sauces. So you have ketchup and you have spicy mustard, not normal mustard. Yellow mustard is garbage. You don't want yellow mustard. That's like crap land. Unless you got a hot dog, maybe. But spicy mustard, which actually isn't spicy at all. Like, it's not spicy. It's just what it's called. Which is a misnomer, obviously, but it's good. So spicy mustard can do anything, right? Like right now I made some meat. We grilled and stuff, and one of the things we grilled turned out rather dry. It's the type of meat it was. It should have been roasted, but someone asked me to grill it instead, and I didn't. I thought it would be fine, but no. It was too dry. Anyway, that gets spicy mustard so that it's more palatable. Now the chicken that we marinated, that doesn't need anything. That's delicious on its own. But Spicy mustard will get most of the job done. Now, if you're gonna go with ketchup, the thing I don't know, spicy mustard is great because there's no sugar in it, right? It's just pure seasoning. The problem with ketchup is that ketchup is packed with sugar, nasty, horrible sugar, like the high fructose kind. That's just like, you know, kill yourself. You're eating that crap. So what I tend to get, and this may or may not be any better, but I get like sugar-free ketchup, which is made with stevia, which I don't know, that could be bad for you too. Like most things are gonna kill you. It's a question of like how fast it's gonna kill you. So, but if you're gonna do ketchup, I'd recommend try to go sugar-free or something, because like ketchup has so much sugar in it. It's crazy. So, but those are the sauces. So if you want a sauce for Lairs and Legends, I would say go with spicy mustard. That's probably like, it's got like almost no calories. It's delicious. It can improve anything. It's like good. Okay, I got some super chats. I should probably look at my super chats because people I like gonna get mad at me. Have you checked out the Pathfinder 2 subsystems like chases and infiltrations? What do you think of them? I have looked at a couple of the subsystems for Pathfinder 2. I looked at their victory points one, and I thought there was another one that I was looking at, but I haven't looked at them other ones in super detail. I basically look at things as I need them, and then I learn how to use them. I don't have the luxury of time to just read stuff for fun. Otherwise I would, because there's the core rulebook is always on my desk, and one of the things I need to read in it is there's a big magic item section, and there's like different types of magic items, you know, like rune stones and staves and wands and other things, and I really need to like dig into that a little bit more because I feel like I don't understand the types of magic items and how they function well enough, right? And I really want to dig into that, but time is always a problem. Okay, continuing with the super chats. From Nathan, thank you, sir. I want to start DMing. I'm making my Hamru campaign. A Hamru campaign. What's a Hamru campaign? Does anybody know what a Hamru campaign is? Let's see what chat says. It's a Hamru campaign. Well, you guys put that in the think tank and you let me know what you get. So you're starting a Hamru campaign using your planning video. How do you build in PC backstory and keep player interest? Any other advice for a new DM would be helpful. Okay, so I'm screwing with you too. I know it's homebrew. I know. And you know, the thing is that I am the master of misspelling things, and so I should not be picking on you. But you're doing a homebrew campaign. How do you build in a PC backstory? Well, the good news is I literally have a video coming out in February that deep dives into creating a backstory. No. The January video. Wait. Yeah, the January video that's coming out soon is going to talk about creating a backstory, how a player should create a backstory. And then the video I have coming out in February is going to deep dive into how a game master should use a backstory, ways you can use it and stuff. And part of the key to being able to use a player's backstory is that they give you a backstory that's usable. And so I have on the dmlair.com, you can go to our shop and we have a backstory template that is 100% free. So just type in thedmlair.com, you go there, at the top there's a button that says like store, I think. Go to the filter, search for backstory template, you will find it, it's free, you pay nothing, you get it, and you're going to get, it's a Word doc, and you can basically, it has several questions in it that serve as a template or a guide for your players to answer so that they can create a backstory that you then as the game master can use to customize your homebrew campaign. Okay, so the first step is getting your players to give you usable backstories, right? And you can use my template if you want, or you can do whatever you feel is best. The second thing is, it really comes down to using this, in my opinion. Like you need to read their back. The first step is reading their backstories, right? But you want to be scanning their backstories for things that you can use to create tension, drama, and conflict in your homebrew campaign, right? So let's pretend that they have a childhood friend, somebody that they were really tight with and friends, and for whatever reason they like were separated or something. Okay, cool, that's great. Then you ask yourself, all right, how can I use their childhood friend to create tension, drama, and conflict in the campaign? Options. Childhood friend, they could be a bad guy now. They had a change of heart, things happened, and now they are the bad guy. Or maybe they work for the bad guy. They're like one of the underlings for certain reasons. Or maybe they are an unwilling accomplice of the main bad guy because the main bad guy has leverage on them. They have some dirt on them. Or maybe their childhood friend is being held captive by the main bad guy for reasons, right? So you think of something, this is the general concept. You think of an element from their backstory that you can pull out and inject into your campaign somehow that creates conflict, drama, tension. And then the player is gonna, and remember, as a game master, that's your job. As the game master, you are supposed to create problems. The entire game resolves around the characters solving problems, and you, as the game master, make those problems. So you go through their backstories and try to find stuff that you can use. You know, you take that knife, you stick it in them and twist a little bit. Like oh man, my childhood friend is captive, or they're the bad guy. Oh, you know, and then that's how you get the investment. And then they're going to be like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Like, I got to go rescue them, or I got to convince them not to be the bad guy. I got to go find out what's happening. Holy crap, you know? So that's how you do it. That's how you do it. Now there's an infinite number of permutations of how you do that, right? I just gave you some examples, but that's the basic concept. Find those things, inject them into your campaign, create conflict and drama and tension, you know, and then your players are going to get more invested. That player right there who just found out that their best friend from childhood is the bad guy, they're in it. They're going to be in that campaign. They want to solve that crap. They want to figure that crap out, you know, convert them back to the good side or defeat them or whatever it happens to be. But they're hooked. They're hooked. They're not going anywhere, right? And then you do a similar thing for each of your players' backstories. Now, you don't have to just tie in one thing or two things. You can have multiple things that tie in, right? And you don't want to go too crazy, right? But if you can tie in at least one thing from every backstory, you know, or you can sprinkle things in here and there, and it could result in things that are entire adventures. It could just be a little encounter. It might be some lore that they find, you know? So that's something that you can do. And it really makes the game really cool. Now, there is a pitfall. There is a pitfall. The pitfall is creating plot armor. And this is a mental problem, I think, that the game master has to deal with, because just because you tie in their backstory to a thing in the game doesn't mean that they get plot armor. But you're going to find, as the game master, subconsciously or maybe intentionally, that you might be tempted to give them plot armor because you're like, this thing that's going on is related to their backstory, and if that character dies or turns into stone or something, then all of this work to create this backstory element and stuff is kind of negated and pointless. Therefore, let's make sure that nothing happens to that character. So there's a big pitfall and danger there. Now, that doesn't stop me from incorporating character backstories. I just don't care if they die or they live, you know. That's not, whatever. The dice are what the dice are, and players' decisions, they make decisions, and sometimes monsters are just nasty and things happen. So I still incorporate the backstory elements. I am very conscious of not giving plot armor. And if I just took something from Krabby's backstory and put it into the game, and there's this cool thing, and Krabby dies in the next game session, well, that's life. Make up a new character, give you a new backstory, I'll do it all over again. You know, so just be careful not to inject that plot armor, I think, is my caution there. Some players can get upset if you change their NPC from their backstories. Okay, Nixon, that's a good question or a good point. What I would say to players and make this clear to them is that, listen, you create your backstory. Once that backstory passes into my hands, I have some. I'm going to be using that stuff. I'm going to take some liberties with that, right? Because I'm going to use that in the campaign somehow. So, if there are things that you don't want used or changed or whatever, you need to tell me about that. Otherwise, I might just take your mom and she's dead because bad guy, and then you gotta go solve it. So if you don't want that happening, you better tell me, dude, because like there are two reasons to have a backstory. One, it informs your role playing. Two, the game master is going to use it in the campaign, right? That's the two reasons. So if there are things that are sensitive or off limits, you'd better let me know, right? So you should probably try to make that clear to your players. Okay, I had another super chat. Thank you, Jason. Hey, Luke, thank the team and you for all the magnificent content. You are very welcome, dude. Curse material from Accursed Arcanum is pure gold to supplement my Curse of Strahd campaign. Finally used your skin-eyed golem idea for a Blinksky doll. Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that was cool. Yeah. So what? I'll show you what he's talking about over here in case you guys are interested, because it is a pretty cool resource. Let me go over here. I gotta go to our Shopify store. Oh, I should probably. Oh, hold on a second. I can't show that screen. That's the secret screen. That's the screen nobody can see. So he's talking about if you go to our shop. Oh, it's called Shop up here. So we go over here, and he's talking about the Accursed Arcanum. It's actually lit right there. So what we did in this resource right here is curses suck in D&D 5th edition. They suck. It's like, oh, you're cursed. Okay, cool. Remove curse. Done. It's like this is stupid. So what we did in this guide is we expanded the curse rules. All right. Oh, gotta pop up. Whee! I get 10% off my order. That's not a bad deal. We expanded the curse rules to include hexes, basic curses, intermediate curses, advanced curses, and true curses. And then we have guidelines for creating new curses. And then obviously we have some sample curses because, you know, examples are always very helpful. And so you can go pick that up on the DM Lair store. This was written by Goliath Cleric, who is in chat. Goliath, you wrote this, didn't you? I'm pretty sure Goliath wrote this. Zach is his name. So anyway, this is his little work of art right here. There are people on the team work on it as well. We have editors and game design reviewers and stuff right there, but I think the bulk of this is Zach. So anyway, you can go pick this up on the DMLair.com if you want a better way to do curses in your game. We have tons of stuff over here. Tons of different things you can get. What the heck was the other thing? So if you want the best of the best for like rules and stuff, where is this? Where are the bundles? Bundles. The best thing you can get if you're looking for additional rules is the big rule set bundle. And this actually has the curses thing in it. For $25, you get mass combat and siege rules, the curses thing, point of interest system, a crafting system, a new poison, a way to expand poison use in your game, a tamed companion, a way to have animal sidekicks. You get a whole bunch of new rule sets you can use in your 5th edition game, all in this big bundle right here. And I want to make this clear, these are lightweight rules. We do not publish 200-page books because nobody uses that crap. It sits on your shelf, it looks pretty, but you never can use it because it's too much. So we do lightweight rules that are easy to learn, easy to teach to your players, that you can actually use in your games. That is our game design theology, I suppose, of making new rules so that people can actually learn them and use them, and they don't just sit on your book and gather dust. Although I will say that big books make for good Kickstarters, but they don't always get used, do they? All right, let's keep moving. The bundles are on sale. Yeah, our bundles are all on sale. The bundles are always on sale. It's just a thing. It's like, what we do is like, if you compile what the rules would all be individually, it's like $40. And so we offer the bundle for 25, you know, but it's always like that. I probably shouldn't be saying that. I should be like, you're right, they're on sale, hurry now. But I'm too honest for that sort of stuff. Barbie just interrupted Luke. Who's Barbie? What do you mean Barbie interrupted me? What does that mean? Yeah, the Rachel, that is the benefit in getting the bundle. You save money. Absolutely. Lord God, thank you for the super chat, dude. Do stairs go up or down? Hi, Luke. Etc. All stairs go both up and down depending on your current trajectory, and depending on whether you are falling or not. Of course, if you're the person who falls up the stairs, you're special, and we applaud you. Actually, everybody falls up the stairs. It's always funny though. It's better to fall up the stairs than to fall down the stairs. So you may feel like a moron when you fall up the stairs, but that's the best way to do it. You don't want to fall down the stairs. If you're gonna fall on stairs, fall up the stairs. It's preferred, definitely preferred. All right, I got some more questions here. How do you deal with large-scale homebrew campaigns and planning week-by-week get-togethers while preventing players from adventuring to regions above their level? Do I give meta warning? Well, I don't have regions that are above their level because is this Flames Gaming? Is this a pre-written campaign? Because when I'm running my campaigns, like, I generally tailor all of the adventures to their level, and then I give out plot hooks, and when the players tell me they're going to go do a thing, I plan that adventure for their level. And if I'm running a pre-written adventure, like if I'm running Into the Fae, or I'm running some of the adventures from Lairs and Legends, those are both a couple products that we have on our store, I'm only going to give plot hooks to my players that I want them to follow, right? Like if there's like some adventure that's like level 15 and they're level 4, I'm not going to give them that plot hook because I really don't want them going that way. I'm going to give them level appropriate plot hooks, generally speaking. Now, I did make an exception of that for my Curse of Strahd game. I gave them tons of plot hooks for many places that were way above their level. But my players were like, no. We should not go to Castle Ravenloft right now. That's a bad idea. My players knew, right? But I was just kind of like tempting them, like, ooh, you know, wee. So control, the best thing you can do is control. It's smoke and mirrors and stuff, but control where players go, generally speaking, through the plot hooks you deliver. Don't give them a plot hook unless you're prepared to do that thing, right? And then if they're going to go do something, ask them to tell you in advance what they're going to do so you can go prepare that to be level appropriate. You know, not everybody has level appropriate adventures depending on how you want to play your game. Some people just have crazy stuff going on and it's like, whoa, you know, and that's how you run your games and you all love it, and that's fine. But ask your players what they want to do first, and then you go prepare the thing however you want to prepare it. And that is the best way, in my opinion, to handle that so that they don't end up doing something that's way above their level. But if you make it clear to them that a thing is super hard and challenging, you know, and they want to go there anyway, well, then all bets are off and you just run that bad boy as is. And if they get their butts handed to them, that's life. They knew better. Is the big rule set bundle homebrew rules for D&D 5th edition? Yes, it is for D&D 5th edition. Correct. My player wants to play as a sorcerer who is going mad, like hearing voices, but she also has psychic powers. As she uses her abilities, it adds to the madness. How would you put this in the game? Oh, gosh. I mean, you have to homebrew a little something, right? You have to homebrew a little something. Now, do you want this to be permanent madness where she's just every time that's like a death spiral almost, right? Like,
And do you, so every time she uses her psychic powers, her madness gets worse and worse. It's a death spiral, right? And so then she doesn't want to use her psychic powers. But if she doesn't use them, then she's not being useful as part of the group, and that could be annoying, right? Like, oh my gosh, like imagine other players, they're like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? We understand that you're like, your psychic powers cause you to go into madness, but like, we're in a crazy boss battle right now, and you're not helping us because you're just worried about going mad. Just pull your weight around here. So there is something to be said about, yes, there's role playing your character, and then there's your stuff that's going on, but like, remember you're part of a group too, so you want to not do things that are disruptive to the overall enjoyment of the game. So I think there needs to be like a balance struck in how you implement that. I feel like if I were to do something like that, I would probably work with my player to see what kind of effects make sense. And now they could be mechanical effects that literally make her mechanically worse as she uses her psychic powers, or they could be flavor effects, just flavor things. And you can work with your player to, part of what I do here a lot of times for these things is I like to put some of the work on my players and ask them, what do you think should happen? What do you think? How would you want this to work? What seems fair to you? What makes sense to you? Part of this is because like I don't have tons of time to do that sort of thing, but another part of it is that players a lot of times have amazing ideas and it's their character, and they're probably going to be more invested in making it cool and amazing, and they're going to spend more time on it, and you might get a better result than if you just decide to do it yourself as the game master. So I would involve your player in that conversation and figure out how that works. It can be mechanical, it can be just flavor. The other thing that I would recommend though is that for the sake of overall gameplay and group enjoyability and it not becoming an annoyance for the other players when this sorcerer never uses her spells to help them in combat, is you might consider this delving or descending into madness to be a cyclical thing. So when she, after, we'll just use game mechanic terms, after she full rests, she takes a long rest, her madness level recovers a little bit and she gets some of her sanity back. But as she uses her spells, then it kind of goes back down and she gets more insane, right? And then she rests and she gets better and she feels better. You might do something like that, you know? That way it's not like just a permanent descent into bad, worse, horrible, dead, you know, just bad stuff. The other thing you can do, you might find some inspiration for a type of insanity that she could delve into by going, I'm just constantly talking about the stuff in our store, but we literally have stuff on our store that can help you with that. We have is it part of, let's see, we have an insanity system. It's actually in an issue of Lair magazine, insanity. So if you go to Lair magazine issue 14, sanity and sabotage, we have an insanity system in that issue of Lair magazine that you might find helpful. I don't know if it's going to exactly fit your use case, but it might at least serve as inspiration. And you'll get some cool adventures and monsters too while you're at it. So that's something you might consider taking a look at too, if you want to. All right, let's find some more questions. Holy crap, what is that? Sasha says, is a red dragon great worm with over 2,000 hit points and a custom ability that disables use of spells more advanced than 3rd level a bit much? They can still use higher level spell slots though. Yes. A great dragon great worm with 2,000 hit points? It doesn't let the players use their spells? Yeah, that's a bit much. Say no to that. Would a Death Slot with some yet to be determined minions be strong as a big bad for a 4th level players? I don't know. Can somebody look up Death Slot really quick and tell me what the CR is of Death Slot? We're gonna punch some math and I will give you an answer. What is the CR of a Death Slot? 5 or 8? Something tells me it's around 8 or 9 or something.
What is the CR of a death slot? I'm finding my resource. And you said level 4 characters. So we're gonna go over to this site right here. This is what I use all the time to calculate stuff. So we'll assume you have 5 players. They're level 4. And then you have a death slot. And what's the CR of a death slot? Is it 10? I see 3 people saying 10. All right. No, that's a horrible CR. Oh my gosh. For level 4? Did you say level 4? Oh yeah, you're gonna destroy them. Check this out, dude. So 5 level 4 characters, the deadly threshold is 2,500 adjusted experience points. 1 death slot is 5,900 adjusted experience points. And then you said you wanted to add some minions? Oh no, dude, they're dead. Now, if you just had the death slot by himself, it's a solo boss fight. It's 3 times their deadly threshold. No, not 3 times. About twice their deadly threshold. But it's a solo boss fight, so they're gonna surround and pound. They're level 4. I still think they're probably gonna die. You're gonna have at least a few players that are gonna die. This is totally inappropriate for that level, especially if you want to add minions. This is how you want to do this. So if you want to have, say, 4 minions, this is what you want to do. Let's say the minions are like CR 1/2, and then the boss is like a CR 5. Now we're still in the deadly threshold. So now I'm going to adjust it down some more. Let's make the boss a level 4. I'm in now. Here we go. This is what you want. You see how I did that? You just tweak the numbers a little bit. So now I'll make this a little bit bigger for you. I have 5 characters, they're level 4. And I have 1 monster level 4, that's the boss. Then I have 4 minions who are CR 1/2. And that right there, the deadly threshold is 2,500 and the adjusted difficulty rating is 3,000. That right there is a level appropriate boss fight for you. It should be challenging. Probably nobody's gonna die. And if they do, you're just gonna like heal them when they're down and they get back up, and they go down and they get back up. You're probably going to be fine. That would probably work for a boss fight. But a death slot, that's just too much. This is how you do it, dude. You just punch some numbers, play around, and then until you get something that works. I'm trying to make a Payday the Heist in Pathfinder 2 2nd edition. Is that a stupid idea, a crazy idea, or a bad idea? Honest question. I don't know what Payday the Heist is, so I don't really know the answer to your question. It sounds like it's a movie or a book or something, and my pop culture knowledge is like 0 because I don't pay attention to movies and popular culture and stuff. I don't have time, and it doesn't really interest me. Oh, it was 4 level 9 characters? Was that the question? Did I totally screw that up? Oh, you did say 4 level 9 characters. I totally messed that up. Let's go back and punch the numbers again. It was 4 level 9 characters. Let's redo that. Let's put the death slot back in. Let's get that row out of there. Okay, so that now we have a totally different story. 4 level 9 characters, 1 death slot. The encounter difficulty is medium. That's totally doable. Now we're gonna add some minions. I would say maybe a CR 3 might work for a minion. We're gonna punch some numbers, we'll find out. That might be overkill. What about CR 2? That might still be a little too hard. Here's the problem. Here's what we're running into. So this technically by the book works. You have 4 level 9 characters. You have 1 CR 10 monster, and you have 4 CR 1 monsters. Now technically by the math, you know, the deadly threshold is 9,600 and the adjusted difficulty rating is 13,400. But let me tell you what's going to happen. I want to explain to you what's going to happen. And it's, you know, it's deadly supposedly, but let me tell you experientially, I know what's going to happen. You have very powerful characters. they're going to tag team that CR10, and he's gonna go down. He's gonna go down very fast. And these 4 level 1s do not contribute meaningfully to the challenge at all. Okay, so there's just not a meaningful contribute. They don't contribute very meaningfully to it. And so I think this is going to be a pretty easy fight, in my opinion. Especially if one of these guys is a wizard who has banishment, because what they're going to do is they're going to banish the Death Slod, and then they're going to kill the little CR1s, and then Death Slod, if he comes back, at that point they're going to surround and pound it. So what I have found is, and I think the rules even talk about this, but when you have a large disparity between like your boss and the minions, like a CR10 and a CR1, these guys, these CR1s, they don't even really count toward the challenge at all. You can just throw them out. They're too weak and meaningless and trivial to even like make a difference in calculating it. So you might as well just say you're all by itself. That's probably going to be a medium difficulty encounter, which if that's what you're going for, like you can't see it because if that's what you're going for, if you want it to be medium, that's fine, but just be aware that it won't be very challenging. Now if you had 2 of those guys, I wonder what, that's probably too much. Yeah, that might be too much. But if you had 1 CR10 Death Slod, the better thing to do is to make, if you could possibly make that an 8, and then it's easy. And now what I can do is I can have 4 CR2s maybe. Yeah, that's going to be a better encounter because there's less of a disparity between the highest CR and the lowest CR. That's probably going to be a more meaningful encounter for your group to actually have to encounter, overcome and stuff, you know? So there you go. Those are my thoughts. All right, I'm looking for more questions. I didn't know what the answer was. I'll soon finish my first ever campaign as the GM of the group. Any advice or things to keep in mind for the final session to wrap it up nicely? I mean, this is similar to, you know, how you begin a campaign. And this is how you end a campaign. So the question we usually get about how to begin a campaign is people fret too much about, you know, the best way to begin a campaign. And they worry too much about it. And I think the same could probably be true for ending a campaign and worrying too much about it. I think I wouldn't worry too much about it. You want to make it cool. It'll be the last thing that happens and the players are probably going to remember it. So you don't want it to suck. So I think my suggestions offhand would be to try to make the boss fight, the final confrontation, be awesome. Make it be as awesome as you can. Challenging would be nice. You know, if the players feel like they just barely won, that's going to feel more meaningful than if it was a cakewalk. And so have a nice, really tense final confrontation, you know, and then the players hopefully barely survive and they walk away to tell the story. And then just if the campaign's over, so you just ask them, hey guys, you know, so like you defeated the final boss, all that's taken care of. What we're going to do now is we're going to go around the table and I want each of you to just tell me what happens in the future for your character. Like where do your travels take you? Where does the road leave you? What happens now? You know, and then the player can just narrate and explain what happens to their character. Well, you know, we defeated that boss, and then after that, I started wrestling with a lot of my inner demons and stuff, all the trauma that had happened over the course of the campaign, and all the monsters, and I started having nightmares and stuff, you know, and then I just kind of retreated into a bottle, basically, and that's how I lived out the rest of my life. That's depressing. Probably a player is not going to say that, okay? But my point is, hopefully they don't say that. That's really dark. But my point is, let them decide, you know, what happens, what's the rest of the story, you know, after the campaign ends. And they just narrate it and they just tell you what you end up doing, you know, what they end up doing. So I would just open it up and let them do that. So try to make the last combat really cool and then just let them describe what happens. I think you're good to go. I wouldn't worry about it too much. It's something that happens once at the very last session. I think people worry a little bit too much, maybe about how do we end it, you know? Oh, I had a couple, hold on a second. I had a couple donations to our I forgot to mention, you guys. So thank you, Jacob Cobberholm and Killer Kitty. Both of you donated to our charity, All God's Children. I want to thank you for that. I do appreciate that. Jacob gave $10. Killer Kitty gave $25. I do appreciate that. Thank you. You did that a while ago and I forgot to say anything. By the way, if people would like to donate, we are currently raising money for All God's Children. They are a charity that helps children. That's why they have children in the name. I'm personally giving to them. I have sponsored 2 of the children. Where are they? So I can't say her name. Alem Tashay. I am sponsoring her. Every month I give money for her, and I'm also sponsoring Caleb right here as well. So you can go over there and sponsor some kids if you would like. All God's Children helps provide food, housing, education, medical care and stuff to some of these kids. Other kids that are in institutions, they do other things to help them. They also do international adoptions. They also help with human trafficking, which is something very critical. And I'm happy that these people are helping with them. So we are trying to raise $500. If you would like to tip, all tips, 100% of all tips will go to All God's Children, or you can just go to their site directly and send them money or sponsor a child if you would like as well. So there you go. We also have a giveaway going on, ladies and gentlemen. You can get $50 DM Lair store credit. We will draw the winner to the giveaway at the end of the stream. And there should be links to all of that in the chat. Yeah. All right, let's see. Super chat. Thank you for the super chat. Because of the story I've made for the campaign, with making the Death Slod older and ridden with war scars, something causing it to have lower stats to justify the lower CR be good ideas. Yes. My chat thing is cutting off some of your words. I don't know why it's doing that. That is a great idea. I literally did that for one of my games. So one of my games is a Pathfinder 2 game, and the players were like, I think they were level 2, and I wanted to use a chimera. And chimeras are pretty powerful creatures. You can't fight a chimera at level 2 in Pathfinder 2 or you die. And so I was like, okay, but I want to use a chimera because I have kobolds and they're worshiping the chimera and I want a chimera. And so what I did is I made the chimera old and decrepit. And I described the chimera as the scales, the dragon scales were falling off. The mane of the lion was all mangy and stuff. Its wings were tattered a little bit. There were like rips and stuff in the wings of the chimera as it was flying down. So I totally described it as this old, mostly decrepit chimera. And yes, I adjusted the stats accordingly. I made it do less damage. Its breath weapon didn't do nearly as much damage. I adjusted its hit points and stuff. And made it less of a threat to them. And then they fought it. It was still challenging, but they beat it, you know. So that's exactly what I did. So yes, 100% you can do that. It totally makes sense. Yes, I don't know. My cat's just on my desk and I'm just wondering what she's doing here. She's gonna cause some trouble, I think. All right, let's keep going. Looking for chats. Somebody's complaining about the ads. Welcome to YouTube. Sorry. Hey, I'm about to have my very first session 0 as a DM in 45 minutes. Ooh, are you stressed out, dude? Oof. Don't be stressed out. It's cool. It's all good. You have been a huge help so far. Thanks for everything you do. You are very welcome, Joel. I'm happy to be able to help, dude. I'm happy to help, man. I hope you do well with your session 0. Remember, whatever you do, whatever you do in your session 0, there's one thing that you don't want. What are you doing? Okay. All right. Next question. True form Tiamat with 5,000 hit points. Thoughts? No, impossible. Next. Oh, a cat strike for Joel? Yes, let's do a cat strike for Joel. We're gonna celebrate your session 0, dude, by a cat strike. All right, watch out, turd. This is how we do cat strikes around here. Stop rubbing against the camera. We gotta tell all the kitty cats, will you relax? We gotta get the kitty cats to come. Mommy, get out of the desk drawer. Get out of there. Out. Out. You maniac. Oh my gosh. He's pushing my camera around. What a turd. There we go. I gotta give my dog something too. My dog is gonna want something. She's like, "Where's my snack? Why doesn't the doggy dog get a snack?" Can you get your face out of there? All right, what am I doing? All right, doggy dog. Doggy dog. Doggy dog. Doggy dog. Come here, doggy dog. There we go. Doggy dog gets a snack too. We'll go to the doggy dog. Here's the doggy dog. She gets her snack. A couple bones. My dogs would try to steal the kitty treats, probably to their everlasting regret. Yeah, my dog does the same thing. I think my allergies would kill me in your house. Oh, they would totally kill you, dude. I once had a job where I had a desk next to a guy who was allergic to cats, and this was at the office, and he had to change his desk location because I guess I just smelled like cats or something. His allergies would not let him sit next to me, so he had to move his desk. Do you know any websites that could help with rebalancing the desk slot stats so I don't over/under due to my lack of experience? Yes, I do. I have the perfect site for you. Let me show you that site. We're gonna go over here. We're gonna go to my RPG stuff. There is a monster calculator site. So this is the site I use. Goliath Cleric, you know this site. Would you mind dropping a link to this in the chat, please? So basically, this is a site you can use, and you just punch in numbers, and it will calculate the challenge rating for you for a monster. So you can, what I would do is I would input the death slot's stats into this site, and then I would just start. Here's what I would do: lower the hit points to adjust the CR. Don't lower the damage output. Lower the hit points. That's going to make the fight more interesting. Okay. You want it to die faster. You don't want to make it do less damage, right? You want to keep the tension high and the challenge high, as far as like, oh my gosh, it's doing damage to us. Just make it die faster. That's the key. There you go. Use that site. I use this. I have to do game design reviews to make sure that the monsters we create are proper challenge rating, and this is what I use to do my game design reviews, to kind of like, make sure everything looks good. Because the actual math that they tell you to use in the Dungeon Master Guide is not easy. It's not. Okay, look it. I have done what is that called? I've done advanced math like Calc 1, Calc 2, Calc 3, three-dimensional bullcrap. I've done differential equations. Like, I'm not stupid. I know how to do math. But like, if I can just punch things into a tool, I'm gonna do that. You know, it's faster. It's way faster. All right, let's go. Looking for questions. If you asked a question and I did not answer it, please throw it in the chat. I'm sure there were people that got skipped. Bounded accuracy means low CR creatures almost never hit the PCs after they have 19 plus armor class. That is a very good point. Zach Middlefield brought that up. And remember when we were back talking about our death slot? So we were talking about our death slot, and we were like, you know, you could have one death slot and 4 CR1s, and we were talking about how these CR1s wouldn't meaningfully contribute. Well, he brought up a wonderful point. It's very, very true. These CR1s probably have a +4 or a +5 to their to hit modifier. They're never going to hit the characters. They're going to be swinging and missing. Yes, you have bounded accuracy in 5th edition, but they're going to mostly swing and miss. They're never going to hit anything, which means they're pointless. You might as well not even have them. Which is part of the reason why I said you might as well calculate that as though they weren't even there. So that's a very good point. Will Pathfinder ever make D&D Beyond? It depends on what you're asking. What exactly do you mean? I think D&D Beyond for Pathfinder already exists. I will show you what it is. Let's go over here. So I will go to my Pathfinder 2 folder. Archives of Nethys. Archives of Nethys is Pathfinder 2's version of D&D Beyond for all intents and purposes, with one major difference. It's free. There's no subscription. You don't have to buy the content. It's free. That's right. Pathfinder 2 gives you almost everything for free on Archives of Nethys. Character creation rules, monsters, stat blocks, everything's on here, ladies and gentlemen. It's 100% free. Archives of Nethys. It's amazing. You see, Wizards of the Coast wants to charge you an arm and a leg to buy all the books, to do all this stuff, to have convenient character creation. Just like, give us the money, 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 money. And they're just like milking you, right? Pathfinder 2, Paizo, they're just like, yeah, we're going to give it to you for free. There you go. You know, we trust that you're probably going to buy books and stuff, and we're going to figure out a way to make it work. But we want people to be able to access our rule set for free right here. And this is great for like looking things up really fast, searching, finding monsters and stuff. I still own all the books that I'm going to use because I like having physical books, and that's what I use at the game table mostly. But this is a super convenient resource. So to answer your question, I think it already exists, man. It's right here. This is just like a game change log, but if you go in here, I can look for Orc, for instance, and instantly get my Orc War Chief. And I have my stat block right there. It's right there, baby. You know, and then other information and stuff. And I can look up rules and stuff too, so it's pretty cool. It's one of the things I love about Pathfinder 2 is that I have all of this online for free and I don't have to pay for it again. It's pretty cool. And if you're like on a budget and you want to play Pathfinder 2 and you can't afford the books, you can just go and get the rules for free. It's pretty nice. Would you recommend Pathfinder to someone who is new to DMing, or should I get more experience in one TTRPG first before trying it? Well, I mean, most people, I would say probably, if you've never DM'd before, you probably start with D&D 5th edition. So the real question, I think, is if you've never DM'd before, should you start with D&D 5th edition or should you start with Pathfinder 2nd edition? I think that's the question, right? And there's a lot to consider with that. But if you were to ask me, Luke, which one of these is easier to be a game master for, I would say that it is probably easier to be a game master for Pathfinder 2 than it is to be a game master for D&D 5th edition, with an asterisk. And this is that caveat. So the rules are a little more complex for Pathfinder 2. However, the system supports you better as a game master, because a lot of these vague, undefined areas that lead to discussions at the table or questions or house rules have been defined in Pathfinder 2. Whereas in D&D 5th edition, you're going to be like, well, I don't know, you could sleep in your armor or not, or how does this spell work? And like, oh my gosh, this spell, and there's so many things, as I played D&D 5th edition for almost 10 years, I think, at this point. It's been out since 2014, and I've been playing it probably 9 years now. And there are so many things that just aren't well defined that lead to discussions at the game table. And what I have found with Pathfinder 2 is that they've thought about most of that stuff, and there aren't a whole lot of discussions because it's in the rules and it just tells you, And so I think that offers a lot of comfort to the game master and confidence of like, I don't have to sit here as a new game master and try to do game design on the fly and decide how something works. It's in the rules. So I think that makes game mastering easier, right? And if you don't know Pathfinder 2 or D&D 5th edition and you got to pick one, you're going to be learning a new system anyway, and Pathfinder 2 is a little bit easier to be a game master for. And because the math is better and the math works better for Pathfinder 2 when you're doing things like designing an encounter, guess what? It works. If I want to make a moderate encounter, math works. The moderate encounter is a moderate encounter. If I want to make a severe encounter, it works. It's actually severe. You can't say that about D&D 5th edition. It's so swingy, you just don't know because the math is so loose, So and the rules for making monsters are easier. It's way easier to make a monster in Pathfinder 2, like from scratch, homebrew your own monsters. Way easier to do that in Pathfinder 2 than in D&D 5th edition. So I think there are some definite advantages to Pathfinder 2 for a new game master if you're coming from nothing, right? Now, there's always the question of, well, what are your players going to play? What do your players want to do? Because if they all have their hearts set on D&D and stuff, then you probably got to tell them, look, it's the same thing. This is a different name, but in essence, it's the same thing. So, I don't know. I would probably recommend Pathfinder 2 over D&D 5th edition. Now, that said, it is easier for players, I think, to pick up D&D 5th edition. Character creation rules and options are very limited and make things a little bit easier for you, whereas Pathfinder 2 gives you lots of options for character creation, which might be intimidating for players, but more options means you can play something really cool, and the classes are way better balanced, and you don't have to worry about picking a bad class that's going to be crazy underpowered compared to somebody else's and then feeling like an idiot because you picked like, how did I know that Ranger sucked in D&D, but it can. So I don't know, those are some thoughts on it, I suppose. I am biased because I like Pathfinder 2 way more than I like D&D 5th edition, so I will acknowledge that I am biased. but I also have tons of experience with D&D 5th edition. And then I've been playing Pathfinder 2 for not quite a year at this point. So I have some good experience in the systems to speak somewhat intelligently about it. I've been running 3.5 and 5th edition for about 15 years, thinking of moving my players over to Pathfinder 2 after the current game is over. What's your biggest piece of advice for changing over like you did? I think the biggest thing that I've found in moving to Pathfinder 2 is my dog's got to calm down. Zoe, go relax. Go relax. Zoe, go relax. Go relax. She's sniffing everywhere for food. She's just freaking out because we just had snack time. For switching to Pathfinder 2, there are going to be some things that you don't like. Throw those out. Just throw them out. And this is true for any game system you switch to. I have found that there are certain rules that have to do with skills that are supposed to be used when you have a social interaction, when people are talking with each other, like coercion, and stuff like that. And I have found that using those specific rule sets for social interactions bog down social interactions. And I don't like them. So I just don't use them. I still have people make checks. Like if you're trying to convince somebody of something, you're still going to make a diplomacy check. If you're trying to intimidate them, you make an intimidation check. But I'm not going to use the very specific mechanics underneath those skills like coercion and other types of things that are under there. It adds to the complexity of social interactions. And in my opinion, the way to have really cool social interactions and back and forths and stuff is to minimize the amount of rules that you use for social interactions, not for combat. Combat's a little bit of a different beast in my opinion. But for social interactions, I don't want a bunch of rules. I want it to be very streamlined. And so I throw out that stuff. And so I think my biggest piece of advice is keep the stuff that you like and ignore the stuff that you don't like. No. That's why she was wandering around. She just took a dump on my floor. We'll be back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm cleaning up poop off my floor.
sabe que con quien está hablando tú me conoces más. No juegues, no. Ella sabe que yo no estoy jugando, quiero algo más, no solo sexo. ¿Cómo que no fue? Si yo recuerdo que fue ayer, un par de tragos después pa'l cuarto, lo hicimos hasta el amanecer. ¿Cómo que no fue? Sé que te acuerdas lo que te dije, que de tus besos tenía sed, que yo soy serio, no pa' vaciles. No. Oye, perdona por todos los males, es que tu no estaba en mis cabales. Esa es la excusa que dio, pero perdona, hermosa, no sé si me vale. Ya me di cuenta el dolor de cabeza, que pa' mí eres cuando tú empiezas de un lado a otro, como una pieza que se perdió en un rompecabezas. Tell me, porque yo no entiendo. Silly, es como me siento, que yo soy un bobo, o es que nunca aprendo a que las mujeres no aprecian lo que yo tengo. Tell me, porque yo no entiendo. Silly, es como me siento, que yo soy un bobo, o es que nunca aprendo a que las mujeres no aprecian lo que yo tengo. Si yo recuerdo que fue ayer, un par de tragos después pa'l cuarto, lo hicimos hasta el amanecer. ¿Cómo que no fue? Sé que te acuerdas lo que te dije, que de tus besos tenía sed, que yo soy serio, no pa' vaciles. No. Siempre haciéndose la roca, es porque está acostumbrada de tener todo sin dar nada, solo con hacerme miradas, yeah. Pero tu actitud no es tu mejor virtud. Baby, si comparamos no habrá similitud. Tú te comportas a lo yo soy cool, pero no es tan cool perder algo por tu ingratitud. Tell me, porque yo no entiendo. Silly, es como me siento, que yo soy un bobo, o es que nunca.
All right, there we go. Hey, I'm back. Just cleaned up dog poop off my floor. It was great. So my wife said that I wasn't touching the poop, you guys. Are you crazy? Why would I do that? I have paper towels and I have a spot. What do you call it? It's not a vacuum cleaner. It's the ones where you spray liquid with soap in it and then you suck it up. Carpet cleaner? Yeah, one of those things. Jeez. And I washed my hands too, for the record, just in case. Wet vac? Yeah, it's something like that. Yeah. All right. Anyway, I think so. This is the dog. This is who pooped on my floor. Sitting there now after having pooped on my floor. You will probably never see her on a stream again. She's probably going to be exiled upstairs with a diaper on because I can't have her pooping on my stream. It doesn't work. Okay, I'm doing questions, I guess. Poop is horrible to clean up. It's so disgusting. Do you have a good rule of thumb for balancing combat, exploration, and interaction in a dungeon? I'm having trouble finding the right balance for different groups. I mean, it's gonna be different for every group, potentially. I mean, I try to have, I don't know what the balance is going to depend on your group, but I try to have, there's always combat in a dungeon or an adventure. I try to have a couple social interactions, and there's always exploration. Every room they go in, there's exploration. And I try to put secrets in, like secret doors or secret things in the chests or something they can find. Puzzles and traps or exploration elements. So I just sprinkle that stuff throughout, and then if I can tell that groups like certain things, I'll add more of those. But I'm also making sure that I'm satisfying my own desires about how I want to run the game as well. So there are gonna be certain elements that are going to be there because I like them, and there might be other elements that I skimp on because I don't like them, so, but I don't think there's not like a rule for that. You just kind of play it by ear and adjust as you go. That's my rule of thumb: sprinkle things and then adjust as needed. Free the puppy. Why? Because she's sitting there dejected. She's like, I just pooped on the floor and I got in trouble. My players got into a crappy situation. Any tips on clearing this mess up for them? Use a wet vac, dude. Use a wet vac and try not to touch it. That's the tip. Yeah, Lord God wins the stream. Well done, dude. Well done. How do you feel about okay, yeah, that person's just trolling at this point. So I'll just ignore those. Greg Piet says, does Luke know the minicams are live? Oh yeah, I know they're live. You guys watched me the whole time. When I go to the intermission screen, you can see all of the cameras. I know that. You can see them all. So you watch, what could you see? So you watch me clean up the poop. Yeah. It's not a small camera. It's not that bad. All right, Killer Kitty, super chat. Here we go. DMing for 5 preteens next week. Good one-shot recommendation. Also, would you have pre-made characters ready or include character creation time? Any tips welcomed. Thanks for all you and your stream does. No, that was not a legitimate question. You're very welcome, Killer Kitty. Yeah, so pre-made characters 100%, have them ready. Have a selection of them. If there are 5 of them, have 8 characters ready. That way they can choose and pick, and somebody doesn't get stuck with one, make sure everybody has choices. Have about 8 of them or so ready to go. And if you can have little handouts that explain the basic rules, like what can you do on your turn in combat, what can you do with your actions and things, like a 1-sheet handout. I have one of those that I use at conventions when I run 5th edition, which I don't actually run anymore at conventions. Now I run Pathfinder 2 usually when I go to a convention these days. But have a handout that explains some basic rules. And then as far as a one-shot recommendation, let me go look through. I'm just gonna go to our store and see if anything jumps out that I think would. What level are they gonna be? Killer Kitty, what level are your players gonna be, or their characters? And then I'll pick out an adventure off our store that I think would be useful for you. Let's see, shop. There might be something on here. Oh, you know what I have too? I have a spreadsheet. What level are they? Where's Killer Kitty? Killer Kitty, what level are they? I need to know what level they're going to be. Hurry, tell me quickly. Level 1? You want a level 1 adventure? Okay, hold on a second. Let's go to the master spreadsheet. We're gonna pull up the master spreadsheet, and we're gonna find out what level we should have them be. Oh, you know what? Ooh. We literally, oh, that's in February. Oh, we haven't published February yet. We have a really cool level 1 adventure coming out in February, but it's not published quite yet. It's a heist, which will be really cool, but it's not quite out yet. Where is level 1? Ooh, a natural cause. I'm gonna try to find a one-shot here for you that's level 1. Well, let's just see what happens if we just type in level 1. Level 1 did not yield any search results. Dang it! It didn't work. Frozen Temple's a level 1. Willow Mansion. Oh, Willow Mansion. Willow Mansion. Hold on a second. That might be work. I think Claire wrote that one. Willow Mansion. Book and Brawn? Is that the right one? Yeah, okay. So Lair magazine number 11. You can't see this. Let me show you my screen. I'm sorry. Lair magazine number 11, Book and Brawn, has a level 1 adventure called Willow Mansion. And I think you have, these are some of the maps for it, but it is a mansion. And this one, I'm pretty sure Claire Martin wrote this, and her adventures always have a really cool, unique element to them. So I would probably recommend that. That'll probably be pretty cool. Level 1 mansion, got several maps and stuff for it. So I would check that one out. That's pretty cool. Now you can get, if you get this Lair magazine bundle right here, what is it? Bundle issues 10 through 12. It comes with Book and Brawn in it, and you'll get a whole bunch of other stuff too that you might find useful. So if you want to bundle it up, you save money. So I would check out that one. Book and Brawn. What was that called again? I just forgot the name of it. Willow Mansion. That one probably will be really cool. I would do that one. I couldn't find a good random character generator that creates in bulk, so I made one in JavaScript. Cool. Not a question. That's useful. I would not publicize that because Wizards of the Coast has a penchant for shutting people down who publish character creation tools. Wizards wants to have a monopoly on character creation on D&D Beyond to make you buy their product, and so they will shut people down that have character creation tools that infringe on any small little thing that's not in the SRD or Creative Commons. So just be very aware that that is a thing to be concerned about. There was a really good character creation tool out there for a while that I was using to create characters with, and then Wizards of the Coast shut them down, and they're gone. HC Magic, what up, dude? How you doing? Gibson says, I'm a few sessions into my TOD campaign. Tomb of Death? TOD, Trask of Doom? TOD. I don't know, you have to fill that in for me. And it's been a few months since I played, and I want to add a few new players. Should I restart the campaign? No, I wouldn't restart the campaign. Tyranny of Dragons, thank you. I was struggling. No, don't restart the campaign, because think of it, you know, like your current players are like, we've already played and now we have to restart the campaign. Is that going to be enjoyable for them? And then you're restarting everything. Is that going to be enjoyable for you? Maybe it would be, but I guarantee you the players who've already played stuff are going to want to replay it, you know what I mean? And then what's the benefit of restarting it? The
the players get to experience it from the beginning? Maybe. They won't miss anything? Maybe. But here's what's going to happen. I 100% guarantee you this is going to happen. Like, you cannot get through an entire campaign without losing players over the course of it and then finding replacements. And so what are you going to do? Every time you lose some players and then get new players, restart the campaign, you're never going to finish. So just don't restart. If you have new players that come in, you fill them in on things that have happened and you plug them in and you get going. There you go. And then later on, a player's going to leave and you're going to get a replacement. You tell them what's happened, you plug them in and you get going. You can't restart every time you get new players. Like, there might be some desire to have them experience it from the beginning, but it's not reasonable, right? And you're never going to get through a campaign that way if you restart every time you have new players. So I would probably say not restart. That'd be how I would do it. What oath for paladin do you favor? Whichever one's more powerful. When I'm a player, that's just what I do. I like powerful stuff. I mean, I'm probably not alone in that. I don't know the paladin oaths offhand because I don't play. I'm not a player very often in games. I don't usually enjoy being a player. I prefer to be the game master. So I don't really know. I think there were like 3 oaths or something for paladins in 5th edition. I don't recall exactly what they were. I don't think there's a bad option because paladin is pretty universally powerful in 5th edition. Lair dude. I'm Lair dude. Hey, Lair dude. Lair dude. Lair dude. If there was no D&D, what game system would you play? Pathfinder 2. I really enjoy Pathfinder 2. The more I play it, the more I enjoy it. And I want to play Dungeon Crawl Classics. I think I played it a long time ago at a convention, but I don't remember a whole lot about it. I've read almost all of the book. Not the magic, the spells. Every single spell is almost a page long. It's lots of special charts and stuff. So I haven't read all the spells. You know, I like skimmed that stuff. Very fast skim. But I read through most of the rule book. And it sounds cool. I want to play it. I just haven't had a chance to do it. So that would be something to try. I have the Castles and Crusades books too. That'd be something to try. But if I had to pick one thing, it would be Pathfinder 2 because that's what I've been playing and that's what I'm enjoying currently. Although there are some other strong options that I'm interested in pursuing. Bye, Lord God. What's a good way to keep a party from metagaming? Beat them over the head with a stick every time you catch them metagaming. No, don't do that. I have a video on metagaming. If you want to go check it out and get a more in-depth information, but it's really the best way to prevent them from metagaming is don't give them information that can be used to metagame. Like, don't tell them what the DC is of a spell that they need to make a saving throw for. Don't tell them the DC. Don't tell them what the monster's hit number is. Don't tell them what the monster's hit points are. Like, the best way to prevent metagaming is to not give the information that would allow them to metagame. And then recall or bear in mind too that there are some forms of metagaming that aren't that big of a deal and you should just ignore. And there are other forms of metagaming that are problems that should be stamped down on. Now, which is which is a little bit of a gray area and left up to your own personal, discretion. Also recognize that there are some forms of metagaming that are desired as well. Like, for instance, can you imagine what would happen if every time there were an adventure, your players were all terrified out of their minds and afraid that they could never actually do the thing? That would be miserable. But instead what happens is the players are metagaming. They say the game master has created an adventure. It is probably level appropriate. Therefore, we have a good chance of defeating it. Therefore, they go on the adventure. That's metagaming. But that's, I would argue, a desired
way of metagaming, because you want them to not be terrified of every little thing that goes bump in the night, and you want them to go do the thing and play the game. So there's some forms of metagaming that are absolutely, totally desired. The fact that many times players will they won't split the party, they won't split up, and they all stay together. That's a desired form of metagaming. Now, the reasons they don't want to split up is, you know, the challenges are harder, they might die, etc. But the reason you want them to stay together is that you can run one game instead of multiple games simultaneously as they all go off and do their own thing. And so I would argue that that is a desired form of metagaming as well, in some regards. It's not pure metagaming, but there's a little element to it. So there are some good parts of metagaming that are. So just bear that in mind as well, I think I would say. I think our moderators are getting close to banning some people. If it hasn't already happened. Thank Lair, bro. Yeah, no problem, dude. You got it, man. What's the best Pathfinder 2 content in your store, in your opinion? Gosh. I don't know, man. I mean, we make tons of adventures and monsters and stuff. It's all... I think a lot of it's going to be up to personal preference and stuff. But if we go over there... I'm gonna sort by newest. Oh yeah, that's really cool. So this stuff right here, this bundle right here, if you get Lair magazine bundle 34 through 36, this one has Luna and Lycan, and then Fiends and Flames. Those are really cool. So Luna and Lycan is like a lycanthropy themed. A couple adventures there and some new monsters. That's really cool. The Fiends and Flames one is like a fiendish one, obviously. I remember that adventure arc is really cool as well. I think that those are a solid choice. And you can get it in Pathfinder 2. Just drop down Pathfinder 2. You can get it for both if you want as well. And you get like, you know, it's like over 200 pages, nearly 200 pages of content. So I remember these are really cool. And let's see. What other one? You can get them by themselves too. You just save money if you get the bundle. There was this one right here, the Deserts and Desserts. This one right here. This has a really cool adventure arc in it as well. We made a whole bunch of new giants. We made a bunch of desert themed giants and beasts of the desert that are really cool. That aren't just stupid giants like you find in normal core books. So that might be of interest to you as well. I remember that one being pretty darn cool. So I don't know. Those are a few options. Just make sure you select from the drop down. You want to make sure you get the Pathfinder 2 version of it. So those are pretty cool, I think. So those are some solid options for you. What do you think about Joe Cat being chased off the platform? I read that article. Remind me again, why was he chased off the platform? He did a video. He was singing a song. This was a while ago, and then people kept on bullying him and stuff. And they were apparently giving death threats and stuff like that. Yeah. Because he likes girls. No, that's not why though. He was making a song or something. It was the I Like Girls song. He did a Lizzo parody. Yeah. I mean, this is the difficulty with what we do, right? And this isn't a direct commentary on Joe Cat, you know. I think that sucks, right? But this is the hazard of what we do. You know, we're in the public arena, you know, we're putting ourselves all out there, and there are always going to be people that dislike what we do.
There are always going to be people that dislike what we do, and some people are going to be more vocal about it than others. And the bigger you are and the wider your reach, the more people are going to dislike you, hate you, and possibly do other things like send you packages or death threats and stuff. Like, that is the nature of what we do. And is that good? No, of course not. Is it desirable? No, of course not. But it is what it is, you know? And so I don't know that I really have a commentary on that, except that is the nature. I mean, there's a reason I have tons of guns and I have a bulletproof vest and stuff, because like, this is the reality of what we do in our world, you know? So, I mean, I think that you have to be aware of that and be pragmatic and wise about it, you know? Is it unfortunate? Sure, you know, and I'm sure there are tons of people that hate my guts and have left me horrible comments and maybe death threats. I don't know. I ignore it all. It's just, I don't know. So, but yeah, it sucks. It sucks. I don't think I really have an official comment on it. But my wife told me, like, when I wanted to go do the YouTube thing, she's like, you know what that means, right? Like, you know what it means when you put yourself out into the public atmosphere like that, and you know what, you know, and I'm like, yep, I understand, yep. And we're gonna take precautions and to recognize that and stuff. So, you know, it's what we get. It's the criticism that we get, and sometimes other bad stuff that happens. But it is what it is, and that's not gonna change. It's never gonna change. People are gonna be like that. This is a broken, messed up world, you know, and they're bad people, you know. Some people worse than others, and that's just the reality of what we have. So it is a fact that must be confronted and must be approached and dealt with if you're going to do what we do. Being a public figure means you will always have to deal with lifeless trolls as sad as the fact is. It does. It absolutely does, you know. And I see, one of the things that I see some content creators and stuff say things like, oh, you know, I just want to create content and people are always bothering me and they're trolling me and they're bullying me and they're saying all these things. And it's like, no, it doesn't work that way, dude. Like, you can't just be like, I just want to create pure content and it's not right that people... No, dude, this is the way it is, man. You can create content, but you're putting yourself out into the public eye in a big way. Like, that means something. You know, you can't have your cake and eat it too. You know, you can't be like YouTube famous and well known and not expect there to be bad actors that are going to, you know, be present. It's going to happen. It will happen. It's just life, dude. This is not a commentary on whether that's good or bad. We know that it's bad. You know, it's the fact that it's a fact, and you have to be able to deal with it, or figure out a way to deal with it. You know? How as a DM can you encourage collaborative storytelling at the table without taking away the game aspect of the hobby? You just ask people to describe what they're doing, you know, and that's a rough one. It depends on what kind of game you want to run, you know, like. My players will decide what their characters do, and that's part of telling the story, right? Like, I set up the scenario, they decide what their characters do. Sometimes dice are rolled that decide things as well, and that's all collaborative storytelling, you know. So every game I run is like collaborative storytelling because my players are all deciding what they do, you know. They have direct control over their actions and what they say. Like, that's their contribution to the story, right? So as long as they have agency to control themselves, I think that's probably the biggest step, right? Okay, I think we're done, ladies and gentlemen. Let me draw the giver to the win away. Let me draw the giver to the win away.
the giveaway, and then we're gonna call it a day. So the giveaway winner. Let me find this. Draw the winner to the win away. Draw the giver to the win away. Drawing the giver to the win away right now. Whee! Okay, Evan from Belleville, Michigan. You are the winner. Evan from Belleville, Michigan. You have won. I will send you an email. We'll get you hooked up. And okay, ladies and gentlemen, we will see you all next week. We'll do some more Q&A, and hopefully our dog won't poop on the stream, right? So see you all. Oh wait, I missed a super chat. Hold on. Oh dude, I missed some super chats. Okay, we have to do a quick encore. Super chat answers. Josh Scorcher says, in PF2, checks like recall knowledge, sneak, and sense motive are meant to be secret checks. GM rolls and doesn't reveal results. Is this good or bad? It's very good. It's very good. I have found that the secret checks in Pathfinder 2 make it, I love them because it takes away the metagaming. Oh, it's so good. Now, to be fair, D&D 5th edition has the idea of, like, you know, things that the game master rolls behind the screen as well. So it's not like it's unique to Pathfinder 2. But Pathfinder 2 makes it very clear, like in a more like upfront way, that there are certain checks that the GM should make behind the screen. Recall knowledge, sense motive, sneak. That's, yes, exactly. So I think those are amazing. I do it absolutely in my Pathfinder 2 games to prevent metagaming. And I've begun doing it more in my 5th edition game as well, because I think it's an amazing, just very, very smart. Super chat from Andy. I've looked at Homebrew Alchemist for 5e. Most are just making potions or bombs. If you made an alchemy that did more, what abilities would you give it? That's all alchemy is. Alchemy is literally mixing together, like, stuff. Potions and bombs. Like, I don't know what else you would do with alchemy. So I'd probably have to go do some research with Google and stuff to see what other historical uses there are for alchemy. That would be my first step. I would do some research first to see other historical uses for alchemy, and then based on what I find, I would, if I find anything else, I would wrap some game rules around it and make some new mechanics and stuff, or new things you could do with alchemy. But I think my first step would be research, because I don't know enough about alchemy probably to talk intelligently about that right now. That's how I feel. Okay, I'm leaving. Goodbye. We're done. I just had to answer those super chats. Whee! Now we're leaving. All right, I gotta stop this thing. I gotta stop it. I gotta stop it. I gotta stop it.